Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Wendy. The title is the technology acceptance and non-acceptance, or why do good IT shops fall from alignment within the business. And what I'm going to focus on primarily is software and software acceptance, software use, software perceived software value, whether it be off-the-shelf software or web software or software that's developed in-house, and really how to know, besides the anecdotal, I can't get out what I need from this, or I'm spending too much time working on or using a piece of software or whatever. We've heard all kinds of stories over the years about modifications to software and the whether or not something is helpful to them or not. Microsoft famously changed from drop windows to the ribbon in large part because of all the suggestions that they were getting for features and functionality that was already in the software for Microsoft Word, but that people were having difficulty finding. And so they that was one of the reasons they fundamentally changed their interface. And I guess what I want to try to tell you is that those things, that there are ways that these can be measured, and there are specific interventions that can be done to affect those things that we think the problems are, leverage points, if you will. So that's why I call this the interventions to affect perceived usefulness, ease of use, and intent to use. So the first issue here really is I'm going to go back, I guess, walk with me through time here a little bit. In the 1970s, a lot of, and this is academia focused, I know, but this will be, I promise you, this has applicability to practitioners. In the 70s, a lot of the research was on implementation and how to go about implementation, the package-enabled re-engineerings, all the different ways that we could go through and paving the cow paths, if you like, for how people were doing doing processes in a manual way, and then what could software do or be written to do to automate that process. And then in the 1980s, we kind of saw a split between the focus on the users and the users' needs, and then the systems analysis and design components and how to write good software, things like CMMI and the productivity, and then on the other side of it, the productivity paradox. Why were we putting so much money into systems and yet we weren't seeing any improvement in productivity? So we saw a split in the research there. In the 1990s, beginning, and I say with 89, with the technology acceptance model from Fred Davis, and then task, technology, fit, and social cognitive theory, they tried to blend those two back together. So the implementation as well as the user's perception of the software, particularly in terms of the acceptance of the software. And then in the 2000s, we saw the movement of Agile and the Agile Manifesto, and trying to bring the users into the development process itself. So all of these are really are around identification of the factors that influence technology acceptance. In other words, if I get a piece of software, if I implement it in one environment, I've implemented, as an example, I've implemented PeopleSoft in a variety of different environments. In some environments, I've seen where that has gone swimmingly well, and people are very pleased with it and meets their needs, and sometimes in the same organization but a different department, sometimes in the same department but different organizations, it comes across very poorly. Even though it's the very same software, even though it's the very same process that's being implemented, acceptance of that has varied, and so I guess what I'm saying is there are reasons why for that, and I'm going to go into that here in a second. So origins of the technology acceptance model. So this is one of the models I'm going to bring forward, or this is the model I'm bringing forward today for you all to consider as you get into your self-evaluation of your own organization's alignment with the IT alignment with the business, as well as with your what to do about it, what actions to take. So it's based upon the theory of reasoned action. So there's a behavioral intention, which means how do you intend to use the software or not. In a mandatory use environment, if I have to fill out my timesheet in PeopleSoft, well, that's mandatory use. I got to use PeopleSoft, or I'm not going to get paid this week. So, but you still have some intention to use it. There's still a desire to use it, or a willingness to use it, or how accepting you are of the use of it. And then your attitude towards performing the behavior. So what do you think about performing a behavior? the weight or how important you think that those attitudes are, and then the subjective norm. So the weight is, the derived weight is how important do you think it is. The subjective norm is what do you think everybody else thinks it is. So your behavioral intent as an equation is your weight of the attitude towards performing the behavior. So whether you're happy or unhappy about using PeopleSoft to do your time tracking, plus the social norm, the subjective norm. So, you know, if it's a mandatory use and, you know, the weight to that's very high, it doesn't really matter how unhappy you are about using it, you're going to go ahead and use it. That's going to be your behavioral intent. So a person's voluntary behavior is predicted by his or her attitude towards that behavior and how she thinks other people would view them if they saw them performing that behavior. So that's really the sum total of it. So a lot of theory, a lot of stuff that's underpinning this. I'll get past this as quickly as I can. My mom taught child psychology at Rice. I'm her failed experiment, so you just have to kind of bear with me here as I get through this. All right, so this is the technology acceptance model. It's a really very, very simple model here. I'm not sure how well you can see it. This looks better on my screen than it does across the Cisco webinar. In the lower left-hand corner is the perceived ease of use, and that goes by a lot of different mnemonics, but perceived ease of use is simply that. You know, do you think something is easy to use? If you think of Google, one of the reasons their interface has never changed over the 20 or so years that they've been in business is because that is such, at the time, it was so revolutionary compared to Alta Vista and all the other search engines were available. It was just a blank screen with a box, and you just typed in what you wanted, and then it would pop up with results. And that affected, that had an enormous perception on the ease of use of that product. People saw that, people see Google, that even today, you know, that's considered to be one of the easiest software applications out there to use because it's just a blank box. Even with all the other wars, all the you know, the default going to Bing or the default going to whatever for the, you know, as we've gone on with the browser wars have started to drive search engines. Even at that, people will seek out Google because of its perceived ease of use. Now that in turn drives, if you go to the upper left corner of the thing, the perceived usefulness. So perceived ease of use impacts how useful you think the tool is. So usefulness means that does it help me do my job, or does it help me get done what I wanted to do, or does it help me accomplish what it is I want to accomplish? So perceived ease of use drives perceived usefulness. Perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use combined influence or impact that behavioral intention, your intention to use something. And this is particularly true when you have a choice, when you could use Google or you could use any number, you know, Dogpile or Bing or whatever the other search engines are out there. When you have a choice, when it's a default choice, what do you choose to use? And do you find that, and that will drive, those two things will drive your decision or your choice of.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Malutis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.